This is Penny One, just a random video as I've been getting back into movies recently, and with the release of the recent Mad Max trailer, which I thought was awful, by the way. I haven't delved like massively into it, but I've been interested in that franchise, and I decided to start off in what many would say is the worst possible way. I watched a film called Road Wars. Um, I have a soft spot for trashy films and what you can consider to be trashy films. And well, low budget is the actual term. But I have a soft spot for this company called the Asylum Films, and Australian, from what I understand, and they make low budget films of big name titles. And I watched Road Wars because it's based on, from what I can understand, it's based on Mad Max Road Warrior, based on the title and the dystopian setting. And I actually don't think it's a bad film. Many people probably say this is garbage, but I think it's an hour and a half not wasted. I think the actors and actresses work well together. They they communicate quite well. The guy who's supposed to be like the Mel Gibson character is British, which is really off-putting. It's a good twist at the end. It's basically Mad Max with like almost with zombies or like a Resident Evil infected sort of thing thrown in as for good measure, and I think it works well. Although some of the zombies are quite laughable. With it being like a Mad Max style, the low budget works because a lot of it is practical. The bits that are computer generated, mostly the flames, are very obvious and not great, but it's passable. It's not so often that you get really like irritated by it. Yeah, yeah, I like the settings, the locations that they've used, and the vehicles seem very close to Mad Max style. Like I say, I don't know who half of the characters are supposed to be, but they play their roles quite well. And then the infected thing is a good sort of way to move the plot along. There are some slow parts, I think, but you can kind of forgive them because they're like character building, and they don't drag too much because obviously they've only got an hour and a half, so they don't drag them out for a good like 20 minutes. I'm gonna check out a few more of the Asylum Films catalog as I go. Yeah, I think it's a good film. I think the wardrobe's good, the music is really good, and I think the fact that it's practical does give it a Mad Max feel. So if you haven't seen it, I would say check it out. I think it's a good film. For what it is, for a low budget film, I think it's really good. And the twist at the end, if you can call it a twist, I think comes very suddenly, but I think it is a good way. It is a good way to end it without leaving it open for a sequel, because they never seem to do that with these things. The only one I know that they have a sequel for is War of the Worlds, but that's because that's such a big story, such a long story. So a lot of these are standalone, and yeah, so I think they ended it well, to be honest with you. You can within an hour and a half, you can actually grow to like a few of these characters, and although I mean, like I say, the infected, sorry, not zombies called zombies, but the infected are quite laughable in places, especially with a lot of the noise they make. Some of the makeup job, obviously, some of the makeup on the jobs, you know, for like blood and that, aren't great, but they are what they are for a low budget film. And yeah, I think with it being practical, it makes like the chase scenes, the driving scenes, all that much better. Although some of the shootout scenes, some of the bits in with a shootout, I'm sorry if I'm giving spoilers, but it is an old film. I haven't actually looked up what year it came out, but it's an old film. I'm going to guess it came out around the same time as Fury Road, considering that the main female character does seem to try and look a little bit like Charlize Theron. In terms of like the face paint. But yeah, with the driving scenes and stuff look good, but with the shootouts, it's like, how can you be that close to someone and not hit them? So it looks a little bit but you can sort of forgive it because it doesn't last forever and it moves along rather quickly. I think it's a really good film. I do for an hour and a half. If it was any longer, yeah, you'd just be like, this is dragging. You'd be clock watching, and it wouldn't be so great. But for an hour and a half, I think you can sit through it, watch it, enjoy it. I think it's good. So yeah, I would say if you're into Mad Max, if you're into sort of like low budget films, I'd give it a go. Because like for Mad Max people, yeah, you'll probably be like laughing at it quite a lot, but I think it's a good sort of like homage to the franchise. Because I haven't watched a Mad Max film. I've watched trailers and clips and stuff. I've not watched the whole film, but I know the basic gist of what the films are, and I think it hits that aesthetic quite well. So yeah, I'll give it I'll say I'd give it like 3 out of 5 maybe. You might watch it and might think I'm being generous there, but it's worth watching. It's worth giving it a go, even if you turn it off halfway through and just go, nah, that's fair enough. At least you gave it a go. It's worth watching. It's worth giving any film a go. I think. I don't think if you're a film fan, I don't think you should say no just because of the genre. I've wanted to try and give every genre a chance. If it doesn't appeal to me or to you, you know, as a viewer, then fair enough. But at least you can say, I tried. I don't think you should just write something off straight away. Yeah, Road Wars, Asylum Films, it is on YouTube. I would say, if you've got an hour and a half, I would say give it a try. Take care.